All right, we're gonna make the sword and the two scabbards. What you're gonna need are these pieces right here, plus your bamboo. So I'm gonna punch out all these pieces, but I'm gonna start with this sword foundation. So you'll need this and the piece of bamboo. All right, I punched out the pieces. I'm gonna put the scabbard pieces over there, and then I'm just gonna focus on the foundation of the sword. I'm even gonna put these decorative pieces to the side too. One side has the score in it. I'm gonna make sure that this is on the outside. So I'm going to bend this like that, all right? I wanna open up this score. This crease is going to allow the sword to bend more naturally on this line right here. It's still going to want to bend with the corrugation at some points, which is okay. I'm just going to crease it like that. It's going to get a little hard to crease in the handle area, but that's okay. Just do your best. This is going to help the bamboo have a little like trough to sit in. Now, since this is a curved blade and the bamboo is straight, you're going to have to position this in a way that keeps it inside the sword shape, but also, you know, puts the bamboo in an optimal position to have a grip and also keeping it far up the sword length. The closer to the tip you can get it, the better. You can even have it sit pretty high up here and pretty low down here, and you'd still be able to wrap the cardboard around. I'm probably gonna put it about there. So I'm gonna attach the bamboo in here with some tape. So it won't move around. I want to make sure that this isn't going to poke through because I don't want to actually hurt anybody. Sword's done. No, just kidding. Okay, so now we're going to add the other side. I want to crease this up first in the same way. If this really starts to pull apart just like that, that's all right. You're going to be adding a lot of tape to this. Now, before I connect these two, I'm going to want to kind of like condition the edge of the sword. So I'm going to want to squash the fluting. I can pinch it, you know, with my fingers, just like that. Also, you can take a Sharpie and run it along the side. You can do it from this side, or you can do it from the inside. And if you squash the fluting down, the fluting is the internal structure of the cardboard. If you crush that, you'll be able to squeeze the two pieces of the sword together much more tightly, and you'll be able to give it a sharper edge, which will then give you a stronger, more compact structure of the sword, and it won't squish as much when you're fighting with it. And when you paper mache it, it's just going to look really, really nice and tight. Okay. I'm not going to crush these parts here because that's part of the decorative element. I'm going to crush some of the handle right down in here. I'll do that other side too. And then this edge. I might do that from this side. Just be careful while you're doing this because the edge of the paper of the cardboard is going to be sharp because it's laser cut, and it might give you a cut by accident. So just be wary when you're doing this kind of motion. All right, I'm going to do this side too. Probably could have done this before I put the bamboo in, but that's all right. Okay, squished. All right, so now I'm going to take these two pieces and then put it over like that. Tape, tape. And the way I'm going to tape this together is I'm going to line up the two pieces. This is a good spot to see if it's lined up or not. And then also, of course, the tip. So I'm going to take a piece of tape. I'm just going to put it on one side of the edge of the sword, so it's not actually connected yet. And I'm going to really pinch these two pieces together, just like that. And then I'm going to pinch it really tight and then fold it over. See how nice and tight that edge is? Okay, so I'm going to do that on the other side too. So I'm going to put a piece of tape here, and then I'm going to make sure it's all aligned, and then I'm going to pinch it and fold it over. Just like that. Okay? So I recommend starting with one point to hold the sword together. Don't just start going around the edge. Do one side and then the other side. And then you really want to make sure that each time you add another piece of tape, you overlap it, and then you really just pinch hard and fold it over. Okay? If you do that, you're going to get a really nice edge on there. So the handle is always going to be a little trickier to tape because it's going to be thinner and it's going to be a more drastic angle to pinch, okay? If it starts to tear right there, that's all right. We're going to be adding some decorative portions here, and we can just tape around it and repair that. So I'm going to do the blade portion first, and then I'll do the handle after that. If you paper mache your sword, which I highly recommend, it's going to make your sword so strong. Like, it's going to feel like wood. You could fight with this for years. As you get close to the curve, you might find that the bamboo is kind of putting a lot of pressure on there. You can push it down in and then squeeze the cardboard so that you can then make a nice connection. As you get to the tip of the sword, you might want to switch to some smaller pieces of tape. You can just rip the tape in half. That way it's going to be easier to manipulate as you wrap this tip. So now I've put some pressure on the bamboo up here by shifting it up a little bit, which caused it to push it down. I'm just going to take it and push it inside the handle a little bit more. And then I'm going to take some tape and try to seal that up. I've got an edge piece that I'm going to put in the back of the handle. Just bend that up like that. I'm going to put that right in there, wherever it feels natural, just to transition that edge right there. I'm ready for these decorative pieces right here. This is going to go like that, and then this one's going to go like that. I'm going to bend this up just a little so that it will curve with the shape that the sword has become. There we go. And then now I'm going to tape those on. Since there's a lot of curves and small angles on here, I'm going to be tearing the tape into smaller pieces, so it's going to be easier to attach around these really small corners. And then I'm going to make sure to keep this definition, the edge of this shape. I'm going to push the tape right up against this edge right here. It's going to help hold it down, and it's also going to show that this is a nice edge. And then when I paper mache it, I'll be able to make that as crisp as I got it with this tape. Okay, let's add this on there. Now you might decide to like crunch this down and soften that edge. Maybe you're feeling like it would hurt your hand. That's up to you. I might do that. It feels a little nicer against my palm. All right, that'll work. Now I'm gonna do the other side. All right, you got the sword built. You got the decorations added on there. Let's start making the scabbard. I'm gonna start with the big scabbard. This piece is important to get the tensions right on, because if you have your sword and it's like, oh, that's nice and tight. Well, when you mache it, it's gonna add constriction. The paper, when it dries, is going to squeeze this piece. That's gonna add a lot of tension in there. And then also, when this is paper mache, it's gonna add extra bulk to the blade. So you really wanna make sure that this is going to be kind of loose when you make your scabbard. You can always add, spacers or more material inside after you've mached it to create a tighter fit for your sword, but you can't take away material as easily if it becomes too tight, okay? All right, let's start building this. So what you need for this is the belt loop, the two sides, and the decorations, and then this piece is optional. You can add it down here to create a space to keep the scabbard shape bowed so that it gives the sword more space, and it's also going to give it more of a roomy feel. It's going to be less tight, so it might not get stuck during the paper mache process. That's up to you. You can add it if you'd like to. I am going to add it to this one. In this one, I didn't add it, but I really had to, after it was mached, I really had to flex the scabbard and make sure that there was enough room for the sword to fit. All right, we're going to start by combining these two pieces. Let's crease them. These scores allow for the cardboard to be shaped in a certain way. It kind of gives it a path for the fold. Okay. All right. That's curved pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to do this one as well, but I'm going to flip it over. Tore a little bit right here, no big deal. Okay, so now it's starting to have a nice scabbard shape. Okay, I'm going to crush these edges with this marker so that it's going to create a nice transition on the final piece. You can squeeze it with your fingers, but my fingers get tired. You can use a mallet if you want to, but this is a little quieter. Just be careful when you're pressing down the edges that you don't cut your finger on the edge of the paper. Since it's laser cut, the paper cardboard edge could be a little sharp. All right, and do that to this side too. Now I'm going to take a piece of tape and I'm going to try to line this edge up, and I'm not going to do it flat. I'm going to do it kind of bowed out like that. And then I'm going to push the two sides together, pinch them if you will, and that'll help to keep that shape. Okay, I'm going to do that on the other side. I'm going to keep it bowed out like that. And then push these two sides together, and then I'm going to tape it over. Okay? Do that in a couple spots. Okay, so now that we're at this point and this bottom part is still open, I'm going to take this shape and then I'm going to curve it up just like that. I'm going to make sure that this kind of like fatter, shorter edge is here. And then I'm going to curve this up and around just like that. Okay, I'm going to grab a piece of tape. Okay, there we go. So that is going to help keep this bottom part roomy and open so it doesn't really catch the blade and cause it to not go in or come out easily. Now I'm going to tape up this edge. Now I'm going to test out the scabbard at this point. It should be pretty roomy. Yeah, it feels pretty nice. It's not gripping at any spots. It's easy to put the sword in and take it out. Awesome. I also want to make sure that this portion lines up with that decorative element. That seems like it's pretty good. Now, you're going to think about what side you want to carry your sword on. If you're a righty, you might want to have this on your left hip. Okay, that's how I set this one up. The decoration is on this side and the loop is on that side. If you're a lefty, you just switch everything. You're gonna have to flip the decoration and the belt loop, but it'll still work. I'm gonna do it righty style. There's this. So we're gonna take the decoration portions. This is gonna go here, this is gonna go here, and there's like a little diamond thing that can go there. I'm gonna start by bending this so that it's going to match the curve of the scabbard. I might have to do a little bit more bending and crunching, but that's good initially. All right, yeah, let's bend that down a little. That's good. Now, this is quite a curve, so you might want to use some small pieces of tape to be able to get that curve nicely defined. All right, pretty good. Okay, now let's add the top portion. Okay. You might have to just bend this a little bit more, even beyond these scores, to make that work. That looks pretty good. I'm going to put this on the inside first, and then wrap it around the top. I want to make sure also that this is going to be lining up with this bump right here. I'm going to put this in there on the inside and then wrap it over the top. So with every layer that you add on, it's going to want to coax the bottom layers to flatten back out again because it's just more tension being added onto there. So just test it out. See how it's going. Oh, it's still good. Okay, awesome. Okay. Okay, and I'm going to add this little diamond. I'm going to put it between these two little curlicue things. Alrighty, the decorations are done. Good job. Let's add the belt loop. So this is the belt loop. You're going to want to crunch this like that. You're going to prepare it so that it wants to fold over, okay? And then, don't tape it just yet. You want to add some tape on the inside to reinforce that. I'm going to fold it over just like that. And then push down the tape. Now I'm going to crunch this edge here. And then I'm going to fold it over. I want to leave a bit of a loop. I don't want it to be flat. There's a little cut in the cardboard. You can see it. I'm going to fold this right to that cut. And then I'm going to tape this up. I'm going to crease this portion so that it curves similar to the back of the scabbard. Now I'm going to put the sword in the scabbard, and I kind of want to feel out, I'm using my imagination to see, like, the belt's going here, and I want to see where I want this to fit, how I want this to lay. If it's like this, it might just work its way and fall out. If it's like this, it's going to be straight up. So maybe somewhere, in between. You can go like that. I'm going to put it there. And then, you could test it out before you tape it too much. Put some tape on, and then put your belt through there. Try it out. See if that feels like a good position. Okay, that's pretty securely taped on there. Great. All right. You are done with your sword and your large scabbard. Good job. Let's move on to the small scabbard. This is the one that's a little lighter weight, and I prefer these actually because it fits on my belt nicely. It's not clunky. So that one's like that. The sword does stick out of the bottom, but I think it's cool. So for this, you just need these pieces. This is the belt loop. These are the two sides. And then this is the decoration. Let's start by flexing the two sides. And then I'm going to crush the fluting on both sides here. All right, I'm going to crunch it up again. I'm going to put the tape to start right here, and then I'm going to flex this scabbard and then put the tape over the edge. That's because I don't want to do it flat, because I want to have this keep some memory of the shape that I want it to hold. I'm going to do that again. Flex it and wrap it over like that. Okay, I'm going to see what that's like so far. All right, pretty good. I'm going to fold some tape in half like that. The sticky side is this side. I'm going to add some tape on the inside. I'm going to squeeze this kind of flat. That way there's some protection on the inside as well. Okay, I'm going to do that to the other side too. Pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to add the decoration. If I want this to sit on my right hip and then I'll draw it with my left hand, I would flip the decoration around like that, okay? I'm going to have this be on my left hip. So this might require some additional crunching. I'm going to try to match this portion up. I'm going to flex this, make sure that they're still staying in line. As I add tape to parts, it's going to cause the layers to shift around a little bit. Might have to go back and rework some of the tape. To get this top edge, I'm going to add the tape to the inside and then fold it around. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to add the belt loop. This is going to sit like that, so I'm going to have it here. I'm going to pre-crunch this. Crunch. This is quite a finger workout, I'll tell you. You can use the edge of a desk. I'm going to crunch this, and I'm going to add tape here to reinforce this belt loop. Okay. Folding it over. Folding it over. Wrap this around here. There is a little cut right there. I'm going to line that up just like that. I'm going to make sure that there's space for a belt. And I'm going to tape that. All right. Now, once that's taped, I'm going to crunch this so it curves like that. And then I'm going to attach it onto here. I'm going to grab my sword and see where I feel like a good spot would be. I'm going to envision the belt again, and I feel like that's pretty good. I can tape it down and put a belt through it, test it out. If it needs to move, just tear up the tape, move the loop, and retape it. Check out the paper mache video. It's really going to help you with tips and tricks for adding strength and longevity to your piece. If you're going to put so much time into it, I really recommend paper macheing it because it's going to keep it around for a long time. And it's going to hold up to battle. Plus, it looks awesome. All right, that's done. So you've got the 2 scabbards and the sword. Great job.